YouTube's there. I don't know. We're live. Everything says we're live now. Okay. 5:13. Yeah, who knows? I forget which one should go first. But anyway, we're alive. Okay. All right. I guess we should send out all the notifications and all that stuff. Oh, I got lots of things.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yep. Okay. So I got to close that and 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 that. And then we'll put that there and this here and that there and this here. Okay. Oh, I failed. I failed myself. We're 866 today, right?
Yeah.
That is correct, right?
I guess.
Let's make sure. 865 is the last one that's up there. Okay.
Who knows these days?
Wait, what happened? Man, that is some BS right there. Okay, well, we'll try this again. Oh, it's there. Right. I forgot I have it over there. Okay, next. Scheduling, send it now. Send the bat signal now. 19C, that's really nice, Petterhall. Greetings from the past, Kiwi Graham.
What's Celsius?
Celsius. That's centigrade to old nerds like you and me.
All right.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Good day, sir. Okay. Did I send out the thing?
Good day.
Yes, the thing went. All right. Now I need to send the Facebook stuff. Okay. Yeah, Facebook. MGG Facebook page. Right. I can do this. I am capable. If I believe it, I can do it. Good morning, Michael Ehrman. Okay. No. Dave Hamilton. I'll use Facebook as me. Yes, it's true. I was thinking of a different famous day tomorrow, Michael Ehrman. But you're right.
Oh?
There's many famous days. Tomorrow is Bicycle Day.
Okay.
Let's see. Share now. I'll share my story, right? Yeah. Okay. And share now public.
Yeah, I got to
Dave.
rehab my bike.
Is that right? I did mine last year. I had it done last year.
Or actually, yeah, I should find a bike place to.
Yeah,
it's over.
It's totally worth it. Yes. I think it cost me like $60 or $50 or $40.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, really? Can I pay you more? Like, this doesn't seem like enough.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there's that. Did you send out the tweet? That's almost rhetorical.
Why is this so slow?
What's so slow?
The tweet.
It's out there.
Why is my Twitter client such a dog on this machine?
Use Twitter.
Yeah, could do that.
But
I like Twitterific.
But you complain about Twitterific a lot.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't work the same on different machines. And I got it was funny. So I see birds like kind of hovering around my my bike.
Yeah.
And I saw them with like twigs and stuff in their mouth and all that. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then I went outside and I looked. So I got like a little basket.
Yeah.
To put like stuff in. It mounts under the seat, or the saddle, as people call it. It's a saddle.
It is. Yes.
So to me, a saddle is what you put on a horse, not on a bicycle. But yeah, whatever. But
it can be both.
Yeah, but so the little thing that I put my stuff in was open, and they were building a nest in it.
Oh, okay.
They were like, "Hey, that looks like a good place to make a nest," which actually it probably is, but yeah, I had to shut that down.
All right. So why can't I see comments? They moved them again. Okay. Let's see. Current viewers, likes, comments. Yeah. Can I see that? I have to go here to see it, to the dashboard. Okay. Yeah, isn't that true, Michael Ehrman? Okay. All right. I guess that's going to work. Okay. Hey, everything's going. Hey, everybody. Nice to see everybody. It's been a while. I do always enjoy the little, sort of logistically imposed breaks. But I also enjoy getting back in the saddle, to use John's term.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting you said saddle, because I was thinking that as I was walking up to the studio this morning. It's like, back in the saddle again. Because I'm back.
Y'all, everybody.
I'm back in the saddle again.
Or was it Come On, Everybody?
Which song?
You All, Everybody.
I don't know that song.
Oh, it's by Drive Shaft.
What else did Drive Shaft do?
No, you never watched Lost, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's why. I'm like, why do I know this band's name? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's why. Okay. Did you ever get with Oliver? Or was my email to him the first one?
I sent him something about what I've been experiencing. So,
like, since we spoke last?
Yeah.
Okay. And did he write you back?
So, no, but he was like, yeah, okay, thanks for the, but yeah, describing the behavior there.
So he did write you back?
Yeah.
Okay. I just hadn't, you didn't CC me, so I hadn't seen it. So I just figured I'd, keep pushing on him. So Eddie Cochran. Boy, isn't it funny the first time you confuse Eddie and Wayne? Very different Cochrans. I think Eddie did Summertime Blues, right? Dr. Dream. And when we were doing, we were playing Summertime Blues in the Macworld All-Star Band. I accidentally sent an email out or something. I was like, oh, we're doing that Wayne Cochran thing. It's like, no. Oh, well, where can my baby be? We didn't play that song. Right? That was Wayne Cochran, right? The Last Kiss. I know Pearl Jam covered it and remade it famous, but Last Kiss was Wayne Cochran, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and we recently had First Contact Day, right?
We did. When was this?
The 5th, right?
I don't know. Yes, from Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is that right? Yeah.
Bozeman. Yeah, Bozeman, Montana.
Yes, right. Wayne did have nice hair. I believe that was Bob Levitus's comment back in our email thread when I confused Wayne and Eddie. He was like, different hair. Ah. All right. Well, this is a little bit of a ADD fest, but that's okay. They all are. We bring that to the table for you. That's our gift to all of you. Yeah. Should we talk through this, John?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We are
quick tip. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't go through the list. Hang on. Sorry. If I don't do this, we're going to miss something. Pre-show. Pre-show songs. Okay, that's great. Pre-flight. That's it. Turn on the light. Set the input level. Set the camera right. I did that. Okay, logic to 128. Okay, balance stereo. Yes. Check John's levels. Get the IceCast stream going. Yeah. Why that browser can't remember anything. Facebook, I send the tweet. As for notification, set the first sponsor. Set Farrago for theme music. Yes. Set the sponsor level. Oh, that's a little bit loud. Okay. All right. And then let's just make sure this is all going to work. So there's me. There's John F. Braun. There's me again. And does the sponsor kick in? All right. You know, free email services like Gmail and Yahoo aren't really free. Brilliant. Okay, great. Okay, now we can talk. Okay.
Let's make sure everything's working in Evernote here.
Oh, yeah. Good call.
Let's see. Roy.
Yeah, good?
No.
No? Evernote did not sync for you?
Still getting the spinning green.
Quit, relaunch. And after the show, roll back to the prior one, whatever it was. The Evernote schnickens. You know. Legacy.
Why? Yeah, I should install that on here.
Yes. That seems to be way more stable. We wish, Dr. Dream. We wish. We wish.
Come on. There we go. Okay. Now everybody's loading.
Everything's better now? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Questions? Do
you have any cool stuffs found to add today?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. No problemo.
More questions answered. Yeah. Yeah, Todd. Yeah, he's technically correct.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if we'll get there. That's interesting. I've heard people,
I
meant to research that because I've seen people argue the opposite.
No, I found an article on like a classic hardware forum, and the 6502 was RISC-like.
Okay.
Although technically it was a CISC processor, but
Okay.
again, because it had, these, really tiny, one cycle instructions and stuff like that, some people, it's RISC-like, but technically it was a sys processor.
Got it. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you, if you search 6502 in RISC, yeah, there's a lot of discussion saying, yeah, here's one. 6502, not technically RISC, but it sure looks like it sometimes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've definitely seen other people like make that argument.
And then I remember getting the, overclocking it.
Yeah.
Then it really flew.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Well, I remember it was fun is that, if you got one where instead of, it was 1 megahertz, it was like 8 megahertz, like things would run like way too fast, like games and stuff.
Right.
You had to like,
right.
You had to, tell it to calm down.
That was like the Zip Chip or something. It was one of them.
Yes, Zip Chip. Yeah, Zip Chip was one of them. There were a few.
Yeah. There was I'm looking at this. Titan Technologies made the accelerator. Applied and AE made the Transwarp. That's right. But I think the Zip Chip was the most popular one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 6502. Yeah, it was nice. And you had the mini assembler and the Apple II, so that was neat. Call -151, right?
Call -151. Oh yeah. That's right. I forgot about call -151. Ah, yes. The good old days. Oh yeah, the Zip. All right. Okay. I gotta get out of there. Yeah, it's very. Ooh. Okay. All right. Shall we? Is there anything to talk through? Are we good on all this? Okay. Hang on.
Yeah. I remember I got a Z80 card for my, when I did my undergrad, we actually did, Z80 was our assembler course. Yeah. And I got a Z80 card for my,
you told me that. I remember. Yeah.
For my Apple II. So right. I could use my Apple. Yeah. I was able to use my Apple II for almost all of the coursework.
That's great. All right. Let's play a song, shall we? All right. We'll play a song. Then we'll come back and we'll sync up our clocks. All right. Because that's so much fun. I love that. Okay. We will be right back. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Is Mr. Braun back yet? Not yet. Okay. All right. I hear noise. Nope. Hear noises. He's there. He's somewhere. All right. Let's see. Oh, yeah. If we get to that one, that's pretty good. Yeah, there you go. Mike, family backups. All right. Yeah, Mr. Braun. No, Mr. Braun. Okay. All right. All righty. Is it me today? Is that right? I know I have it as me. I remember it being John, but I will check. Let's see. 865. No, it's John today. I thought it was. Of course, we need John in order for it to be John. You understand. All right. You know, I never know, folks. I never know. I never know. He's in his chair. Attention. Attention. He is back. Finally.
Nope.
Finally.
Hello?
Hello.
There we go.
Let's check your time at timeanddate.com.
Uh-huh.
Finally, Chiron. Yes. It's like hair. Finally. Hair is fine. 37, 38, 39,
Yep.
40. We're in sync.
Perfect.
How did you just have to reset the audio?
Yeah.
And it stayed in sync. That's weird.
Uh-huh.
What the? All right. Well, maybe the reboots help, right? I mean, maybe that's part of this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see. How are we doing there? We got people watching there. We got comments. It's a miracle. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you. Zip Chip was a classic. Okay. All right. I will try my best to get this right. I believe it is you, John. I had it as me, but I don't think that's correct.
Uh-huh.
I did the last one. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. MGG. Current show. Sort by title. What is first? Greg is first. Yeah. All right. All righty. Are you ready, Mr. Braun?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How do I do this? I do that. Right. And then, okay. All right. Here we go. Are you ready? You're ready, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What am I forgetting here? I know I'm doing something wrong. Anyway. 5, 4, 3.
The Mac Observer's Mac Geek Gab episode 866 for Monday, April 19th, 2021.
hang on. I'm going to do that again. Well, for two reasons. Number one, I forgot to turn off the news crawl that was going across that said, we'll be right back. But secondly, I forgot to log the where we are in the video here. So 28. 28.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry about that. It happens. Okay. All right. Well, that dry run worked almost really well. So let's pretend and do it again. Mm-hmm. Tell me when you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
5, 4, 3.
The Mac Observer's Mac Geek Gab, episode 866 for Monday, April 19th, 2021.
Welcome to the Mac Observer's Mac Geek Gab, the show where you send in your cool stuff found, your tips, your questions. We share your cool stuff found. We share your tips. We share some tips of our own. We try to answer your questions because the goal is that each and every one of us, you, him, me, we each learn at least 5 new things every single time we get together. Sponsors for today's episode include Sunbasket at sunbasket.com/MGG, Startmail at startmail.com/MGG, and checkout.com/MGG. We will talk more about each of those, including how you can get $35 off your Sunbasket order a little bit later here in this episode. For now, here, back in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And here, still in Fairfield, Connecticut, this is John F. Braun.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's good to be back in the saddle, as it were. Let's just jump to some quick tips here and really get things rolling. Greg shares, he says, I've heard the topic of screen recording on macOS come up a few times in the last couple of years, and QuickTime screen recording almost always gets a mention, as it should. But did you know that you can also initiate screen recordings via the Screenshot app, which is either, and so there's multiple quick tips here, Command-Shift-5 will invoke that app, and then you can choose either to do an individual screen or the movies and things like that. Or you can go to Applications, Utilities, Screenshot, and launch it from there. It says, it seems to be what QuickTime uses to do recording, so there's nothing new here, but perhaps a useful tip for those who prefer keyboard shortcuts. There you go. Thank you, Greg. Excellent. I like it. Yeah, I always forget about Command-Shift-5, but I will say that this week I had to take a screen recording of something, I think in an answer to one of your questions, just to show one of you something. And I was like, I can do it with Command-Shift-5. I must remember this. My problem is when I think of screenshots, I think of Command-Shift-3, which was the old school way of just doing the entire screen, or far more likely to use is Command-Shift-4, which lets me pick either I can draw a box and choose that, or if you hit Command-Shift-4 and the space bar, then you can select an entire window to get a screenshot from. And that's super handy. And then, of course, there is the control variant to that. So instead of Command-Shift-3 or Command-Shift-4, you do Control-Command-Shift-3 or Control-Command-Shift-4. And that, instead of saving the screenshot to the disk, will save it to your clipboard, which is something I use all the time when like replying to your emails and stuff. When you folks send things in to feedback@macgeekgab.com, I often take a screenshot and send it back to you. And it's with Control-Command-Shift-4 because it just puts it on my clipboard. So there you go.
Right. Did I hear you right, Dave? Did you say feedback@macgeekgab.com?
I said feedback@macgeekgab.com. That's where you send in your questions, your tips, and your cool stuff found. Absolutely. All right. Thank you for that, Greg. A good little tour. Ralph brings us another little quick tip that is great advice. He says, not sure if this comes under the barrier of not so cool stuff found or if it's tips or tricks. I think it's the latter. He says the problem to be solved. In the last week or so, I've had trouble charging my iPhone XR. Yesterday, it would not take a charge no matter the cable or the charger. A quick search revealed the most likely cause was lint in the lightning connector on the phone. And the suggested fix included using a toothpick to loosen out the lint or using compressed air to blow the lint out. He says, poking around in there with a toothpick seemed risky to me. So I proceeded to use the compressed air solution, which worked like a charm. Problem solved. Phone now charges as expected. Yeah, this is an age-old problem, especially with lightning connectors because they're so thin. They definitely collect lint. If you are going to use the toothpick method, I highly, highly recommend not using something metal. It is very tempting to go and shove like a paperclip in there or something. And I've heard of people doing this successfully, but putting metal into a place where there's contacts and that sort of thing, I don't know, seems a little risky to me. So I have used a wooden toothpick, but the breaking of a wooden toothpick gets a little like dicey. So I use the plastic ones, and they can get much thinner and a finer point. And I use the little plastic ones to dig that lint out. And I probably do it once every 6 months, once every 8 months. And it works out pretty well. So have you experienced that, John?
Not in a real long time.
Well, that's good.
No, I guess I have lint-free pockets.
Lint-free. Well, that's maybe we need to be asking you for laundry tips, and we can learn how to keep our pockets lint-free. So, yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Let's see. We have a bunch of things that we can go through here, including some cool stuff found, John. Let's jump to cool stuff found. I recently, we are big fans of power meters, the USB power meters, inline power meters, and Pluggable just came out with their USB-C one. There are a million of these out there, and it's hard to, and Pluggables is priced at the higher end of what I would call normal. It's at $29.95. I think at the moment on Amazon, they have a $6 coupon for their USB-C power meter. What I really liked about this one, though, and the reason that I put it here into Cool Stuff Found is that it has, it starts up super, super fast. Like as soon as I plug it in, it's showing me the results. And the one that I have that I probably paid about half this for a couple of years ago or whatever, takes forever. I see some logo when I plug it in and it turns on, and it takes a minute before it actually starts showing me data. This one, man, it's like right on it. So I'm pretty stoked about that. So there you go. So that's why I like it.
I got one that looks just like that.
Okay.
Probably made in the same factory.
Yeah. Does it start up fast? Because I have one that looks just like it too. And I thought it would be exactly the same. And that one takes like 20 seconds, maybe 10 seconds before I get to see any data. So.
Oh, now look at this. I don't think mine has this. So I see that this shows volts and amps, but it also shows watts, which, if you don't know, power, which is watts, is voltage times current. I don't think mine does show the watts, though. It's easy enough to do the math.
Right. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's a nice feature.
It is. And I like these that show direction of which way the power is flowing, because if you've got like a battery pack that you're trying to test, like the one that I mentioned last week, it's nice to know that power is flowing either into it or out of it, because sometimes you're using the same port for both charging and, power out. So, yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. All right. Greg brings us a cool stuff found. He says, from last week's episode, you were talking about SnagIt for screen grabs when Lou mentioned that. He says you really should also include SnagIt as a clipboard manager as well, per all your previous discussions. He says, I've been a user of SnagIt for years as a corporate trainer. It was your previous mention of this concept of clipboard managers that made me explore this feature. And I'll have to admit, my life has not been the same since. Yeah, man. I can't imagine life without some kind of clipboard manager. And there's, like you said, there's a million of them. My advice is to find a clipboard manager if you have a tool that already includes one. Like for me, I use Keyboard Maestros because I'm always using Keyboard Maestro. But if you're using SnagIt for your screen grabs and that sort of thing, and it's got a clipboard manager, just use the one that's built into that. But yeah, man, without like a clipboard history, I don't know. I just can't imagine what life would be like. So, yes. Have you entered the realm of clipboard management yet, John?
Not really.
No. Okay. All right. Well,
Golden Chaos has one.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Which is a Golden Chaos is a add-on that makes the touch bar actually useful. But one of the things you can enable, I don't think it was enabled by default, is it does have a clipboard manager. So that's kind of nice.
Got it. Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. All right. Let's see. Moving on here. David brings us a cool stuff found. He says a new USB-C connected webcam was released today by Anker, the PowerConf C300. He says, I get mine tomorrow. And it indeed is a new little webcam from Anker. $130 on Amazon, at least as of the moment we're recording this here. 1080p. It's got built-in microphones and low light correction. It says it is Zoom certified. So, and it's got some active noise cancellation and that sort of thing. So, yeah, that looks pretty cool. So, yeah, look at that thing. Be an instant pro with the PowerConf C300. I like it. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right. Thanks, David, for the heads up. We'll have to check that one out, John. That looks like a good, it's nice to see, this market being opened to companies other than just like Logitech, so it's good. It's good. All right. Moving on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tim brings us Tim brings us cool stuff found here. He says, I've enjoyed your show for years and I always learn something new and try not to get caught. While reading the Twitters, and I caught a recent David Pogue post discovering a new business that AirPod users could find useful, and it's called Podswap. He says, the background is that I have a pair of the original AirPods whose batteries would no longer hold much of a charge, especially the right one that would only work for 15 minutes on a full charge. And then that would be it. Not very useful for an hour-long walk. He says, after reading the David Pogue post about Podswap, I found their website, and what they do is to replace the batteries in someone else's returned AirPods, clean them, send you the refurbished pair for $60, and then you return your old pair to them within 5 days. I did that last week and now have a like-new pair that after using for over 2 hours still has 60% of the battery left. That's pretty cool. Very sweet and much cheaper than buying a new pair or the $98 Apple would charge me to replace both batteries. Yeah, very cool. I might have to do this with, I know some people in my family have been having battery problems with their AirPods. So for $60, that's not a bad deal. Yes. Interesting. Huh. Not bad. I like it. Are you an AirPods user yet, John?
No.
Okay. Okay.
No, I got the, I told you I got the, I don't think they make them anymore. The Plantronics, which I'm pretty happy with.
Yep.
And it's actually not Plantronics anymore. They changed their name.
All right.
Yeah, let me see. They're now poly.com.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Interesting. Cool. All right. Let's see. What do we have here? Oh, we've talked on the show before about how Apple, a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, banned all vape apps in the iOS App Store, which prevented people from actually doing safe things with their with their various vaporizers, either for tobacco or cannabis or whatever. And one of those safe things is being able to know that what you're I mean, the whole reason they banned them was because people were getting cartridges that had like, vitamin E or something in it that was, that's terrible, by the way, to vaporize and inhale. Don't do that. But no manufacturers were putting vitamin E in. These were like bathtub vape cartridges, but whatever. Apple followed the CDC and banned all the apps. One of the things that the apps would do was let you make sure that the things you were putting into your vaporizer were certified by the manufacturer. And so the company PAX had to pull their stuff from the store. Well, now you can do it again. They announced, they didn't announce. They softly announced last week that there is a Bluetooth browser called Connect Browser. And you download that and then use that to connect via a web app to your vaporizer, and other companies are doing this too. We talked about, cannabis tech and just, vaporizer tech in general. All right. Free email services like Gmail and Yahoo aren't triggered. I triggered the sponsor a little too early, folks. I hit my wrong button. It's all good. But you'll hear that later. But it's great to see that people kind of working around this and Apple not stopping them, which is good. So happy to see that. Very good. Any thoughts on that, John?
No.
Okay. Also in the health realm, R sent in a CSF to us. Cool stuff found. Where he says, as you are aware, the find a vaccine process is a pro-level cluster. Yep. He says, yep, even in 2021, basic scheduling with a reasonable UX UI simply can't be created and or implemented. But here's a good first level filter, vaccinespotter.org. So if you haven't gotten your vaccine yet and you're looking for one, check out vaccinespotter.org. We put a link to that in the show notes. So thanks, R. Seems like it's getting easier, at least in our parts. But I realize that I don't live in a bubble here. I know, like out where we were in Portland, it was still difficult for people to schedule appointments. It wasn't quite like it was here in New Hampshire. So hopefully that'll help some of you still. So thanks for sending.
Yeah, here it looks like our Stop and Shops are doing it now.
Great.
Which is a local grocery store.
That's great.
What else? Oh, and I got something from my medical group.
Oh, good.
I signed up for a notification. They're like, yeah, you only Haven now offers spots. Though keep in mind, folks, someone wrote in and let us remind you that neither Dave nor I are medical doctors, so
That's
do
correct.
not take medical advice from us.
Yeah, well, we're not giving medical advice. We're giving tech advice, John.
Right.
So there you go. Yeah, very cool.
Right, but we're not going to tell you to get your vaccine because we're not giving you medical advice. But we'll give you a tool to help you get one.
Right.
If you decide it's for you.
Yeah. I have been. I will tell you. I traveled in August, of course, not unvaccinated. Going back and forth to Portland, and then I did it last week, fully vaccinated, going back and forth to Portland. In August, traveling, airplanes are the science seems to show that airplanes are pretty safe in terms of the risk of transmission. Airports, however, are terribly chaotic environments and probably not safe at all for things. In fact, I've often felt, long before we entered this pandemic, I often felt that when people said I got sick on the flight, I don't think it was on the flight that any of us would get sick. I think it was on our way to and from the flight in the airports and, in those, just like I said, the orderly scenarios, less risk. Chaotic scenarios, higher risk. And so, the airports, you're touching things, you're in line, behind people and bustling about and all that stuff. And I've always felt that that's where it was. That's where the risk was for getting a cold or whatever when I was traveling. But I felt pretty safe and comfortable when we traveled in August. Obviously, wearing masks all the time and avoiding the people and not joining the boarding line for the airplane until it was like time to get on the plane and that sort of thing, just avoiding all that stuff. Traveling last week, had I not already been fully vaccinated, I'm not sure I would have been comfortable at all travel has gotten chaotic again. It's kind of a mess, like it always has been, but it was not nearly as orderly as I recall it being back in August when I did that trip. So I was very happy to be vaccinated. Even still, it was kind of like it was an ordeal, and far more than I remember from back in August. So again, just sharing my experience here, but I was happy to be fully vaxxed for this particular trip. So it was nice to go get our son, obviously, which we would have done anyway. So yeah. All righty. I would like to now, John, if you have, unless you've got more on that, I would love to talk about our sponsors, if that's okay.
Please do.
All right. Free email services like Gmail and Yahoo aren't really free. We pay with our privacy. In fact, the internet giants like big tech bank on exploiting our data by selling us to the highest bidder, or at the very least, selling access to us as the product to the highest bidders. Our business plans, Google has them. Our medical records, Yahoo can sell them to drug companies, right? We need to be worried about this stuff. We need to think about this stuff. We need, as we often say on this show, to choose our point on the continuum between ultimate privacy and security and ultimate convenience with our eyes wide open. And that's why we're really liking Startmail here. It makes us feel safe, right? Because Startmail keeps our email private, period. Every email can be encrypted, even if the recipient doesn't use encryption. And when you delete an email in Startmail, it's gone forever. Startmail uses their own servers, not Amazon's, which means they can't be put out of business like, other companies out there. Switching to Startmail is super seamless. You can easily transfer all your current email data, so there's no starting from scratch. And Startmail is backed by the most stringent privacy laws in the world. You got to check this out. Start securing your email privacy with Startmail. Sign up today and you'll get 50% off your first year. Go to startmail.com/MGG. That's Startmail with a T, START, mail.com/MGG for 50% off your first year. Startmail.com/MGG. And our thanks to Startmail for doing what they do and for sponsoring this episode. Next up is Sunbasket. Look, if your days are anything like mine, you wake up, you have breakfast, you do a little work, and then suddenly it's dinner time, and you've got zero time to meal plan and certainly zero time to meal prep. Well, Sunbasket wants us to eat well and to love what we're eating. And their fresh and ready meals are just $8.99. So they're good for both our bodies and our budgets. Every Sunbasket meal is filled with only premium quality real food, including organic fresh produce, antibiotic and hormone-free meats, and sustainably sourced seafood. And their chefs have won Michelin awards and a James Beard Award. So why not take the night off and let them cook for you? Looking at the menu for this week, I'm seeing smokehouse sausage jambalaya, shrimp paella, chicken Penang curry, cauliflower mac and cheese, turkey bolognese over spaghetti. I mean, these things are delicious. I've tried them. We've done them here quite a bit, actually, at the house. We love it. Sunbasket fresh and ready meals come freshly prepared and are ready to heat up in as little as 6 minutes. No prep, no mess, just heat them and eat them. And Sunbasket is offering $90 off for your first 4 deliveries, including free shipping on the first box when you go right now to sunbasket.com/MGG and enter promo code MGG at checkout. That's sunbasket.com/MGG, promo code MGG at checkout for $90 off your first 4 deliveries and free shipping on your first box. That's sunbasket.com/MGG and enter promo code MGG. And our thanks to Sunbasket for sponsoring this episode. Next up is checkout.com. Look, tech shouldn't stifle innovation. In fact, it should be the other way around. Traditional payment systems are heavily layered, disconnected, and perceived as a cost center to most businesses. Modern businesses, we need flexible payment systems that can help us adapt to change, grow, and scale fast. And we recently came across a company, as our sponsor here, with tech that approaches payments through a radical new lens, and this is Checkout.com. They've put together this white paper that goes through quite a few things that they've researched and found, and two of them really jumped out to me. One thing, consumers place a premium on security and are willing to pay for two-step authentication. 78% of consumers think encryption is critical to the decision not to abandon a payment, while only 6% of merchants surveyed believe this to be the case. There's a disconnect there, and you can jump to the other side of it with Checkout.com. Also, poor payment experiences can permanently lose a business, a customer. 52% of customers surveyed say they have been permanently put off shopping on a site because of the complexity of the payment process. We don't want to do that to people. We want to use Checkout's payment platform because it's purpose-built with simplicity, scalability, and speed in mind. Ideal for merchants looking to seamlessly integrate better payment solutions globally. So you can go and request a free, no-commitment demo at checkout.com/MGG. That's checkout.com/MGG for a free demo. Checkout.com/MGG. And our thanks to checkout.com for sponsoring this episode. All right, John, you have a question and, more importantly, some answers to something that I had left on the schedule as a geek challenge from last time because I didn't know how to do this. So will you take us to Roy, please?
Yeah, I think I got something for you. So he said, gentlemen, I first started listening back in 2011 to the Mac Geek Gab. I am on my third Mac Mini, but also enjoy a MacBook Pro. What I miss on the Mini is the fingerprint scanner to unlock my MacBook Pro. All right. I don't recall the Mini ever having a fingerprint scanner.
No, he's saying he doesn't have it on the Mini. He misses it on the Mini because he has it on his MacBook Pro. Yeah.
Right. Okay, got it. Can you recommend a decent fingerprint scanner for biometric access to a Mac Mini, something which might meet FIPS 201 and PIV 071006 image quality spec? Yes. So I have one device which I thought would offer this, but it doesn't. So YubiKey makes something called the YubiKey 5 NFC, which is both USB and NFC. And it does have a touch interface, but it's not a fingerprint scanner.
Okay.
But this is one multi-factor authentication device. But then I stumbled across an article, Dave, dated November 2020, from Yubico, who makes the YubiKey. The title of the article is "Getting a Biometric Security Key Right," and apparently they got one in the works. That's going to be a fingerprint scanner. Yeah, I think they're going to call it the YubiKey Bio.
Okay.
Yes, cool. The YubiKey Bio is what it's going to be. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But then I recall, Dave, there's another potential solution. And I guess this, I haven't used this in a real long time. I should give it another look here. But there's something called Mac ID, which uses the fingerprint scanner on your Touch ID device to let you access your Mac. Now, this, of course, requires that you have a phone that uses you have a device that has Touch ID. So it's called Mac ID.
I think it has changed its name. If you go to the Mac ID site,
yes,
it says Mac ID 2.0 is now available and has been renamed to Unlox with an X, UNLOX. And then if you click on Find Out More, it brings you to Unlox. So, but same tech, but I think it's got a new name. Yeah.
Right. So, so give that, and so it will let you use the biometrics on your iOS device to unlock your Mac.
Okay.
So it could be Touch ID or it could be Face ID, I guess, from what I'm reading here. So
interesting.
So give that a whirl.
Okay, yeah, right. You can unlock your Mac with your fingerprint, wrist, or face. So, yeah, this has always driven me a little crazy because I can unlock my, and I know why. It's because of the T2 chip, but I can unlock like a Mac Mini with my watch, just out of the, like, you know, with Mac OS. Obviously, I can't do it with my face or my fingerprint, so that's where Unlox would come in. But my iMac here, I don't think I can unlock with my watch. Oh, no, actually I can. Right? I can't remember now. Let's look. Let's look in. I've got too many computers now, John. But let's see. Opening this up. Yeah, I can't. Oh no, I can unlock my iMac with this. So, it's 1Password. That's what it is. 1Password will not let me unlock 1Password with my Apple Watch on a non-T2 Mac, even though my non-T2 Mac, aka the 2019 iMac in front of me, will let me use my Apple Watch to unlock it. So I don't know what the deal is there. I don't know why 1Password is limited like that. In fact, I got to write to them and point. I mean, it seems weird, right? Like if Apple doesn't care whether it's got a T2 chip or not, I don't know. All right, moving on, right? Good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. That's great, man. Nice finds. I like this. This is good. This is good.
Yeah, though I get a sense that there's somebody. I just haven't traveled in that space for quite a while. I think Sony made one at one point. But
yeah.
So hey, if you know about a fingerprint scanner, let us know. Feedback@macgeekgab.com.
That is feedback@macgeekgab.com. I like it. All right. All right. Let's go. That was great. Thank you. Let's go to Gary here. Gary says, every morning when I start work, I use my silent switch on my phone and I get the vibration confirmation and visual notification on my screen. During the past few weeks, for some reason, my phone will still ring when calls come in. Usually the first call will just vibrate my phone, but calls 2 through infinity, sometimes my phone will ring and my camera LED flashes like I don't have it silenced at all. It's done this a few times during calls, and luckily the person on the other end has been nice about it, and I apologize to him or her. Texts, calendars, and other app notifications vibrate my watch and follow the silent switch rules along with key presses and other sounds. This has been going on for the last few weeks, and I restart my phone weekly. Could this be something with iOS 14.4.2? I have to get this issue fixed ASAP, or else I will get caught. Okay, Gary. So I'm not sure I have a magic answer for you, but I'll share the thoughts that come to mind. What would I do if I were there? The first thing I would take a look at is your accessibility settings. It feels like there might be something in there that's doing this. Maybe take a look through settings accessibility. It sounds like you've got the flash the light when you get a notification thing on. Try turning that off and see if maybe that changes the way this works. I'm going to grab my phone here because I have another idea, John, while we're talking about this. If you go into settings and do not disturb, wait, where was it? Settings, do not disturb. That was weird. It launched a different thing. There is the repeated calls button, and you mentioned, or the repeated calls switch. You mentioned that phone call number 1 does not have a problem, but phone calls 2 through infinity might. Well, repeated calls, I'll read the description from iOS. A second call from the same person within 3 minutes will not be silenced. It sounds like maybe that's what's going on here. Now, I know you're not using Do Not Disturb. I know you're using the silence switch, and this shouldn't apply. However, it's worth a shot. Flip the switch, whatever position it's in, it doesn't matter. Flip it to the other one and see if it helps, and then flip it back. Sometimes just doing that can make a big difference. So that would be my thought. PJ is in the chat room at live.macgeekgab.com, where you can always visit, and it's even more fun when we're recording, is to turn the phone over, to put it face down. That can sometimes keep it silent for you, but he says it's happening while he's on calls. So I don't know. What do you think, John? Do you have any thoughts on this?
one thought that I had is see if the person, the call for which, the calls that go through and ring, make sure you don't have a ringtone set for that person. You could do that for your contacts.
Yeah, it still should be silent. Like I have our theme song.
Oh, I agree.
As the ringtone for you. But even, if my phone is on silent, I don't hear the answer. That's the name of that song, by the way. It is, which is ironic. I picked it because I thought it was a good song, but it is called.
Yeah. And what else do I have here? And also, if you go in contacts and then you select the ringtone, there's also an emergency bypass setting, which apparently will let that person go through. So make sure that's not set either.
Really? Now I need to look at this. Emergency bypass. I don't even think I knew about that, John.
All right. Yeah, I didn't either. I think I heard about it, but I never.
If I go to John F. Braun, and I have to say edit, right? And ringtone. Okay. Oh, now it's reset. It's not that anymore. Okay. So, but if I go to ringtones, okay. Oh, emergency bypass allows sounds and vibrations from this person even when the ring switch is set to silent or when do not disturb is on. Dude, that might well be it.
Now, he may not have set it. Maybe it's set itself.
Right.
Right. The random bit flip,
Yeah. Right. Just exactly. The random bit flip. I like it. Discard changes. Okay. All right. That's good. I always put my phone behind me when we record because that way it, I don't get distracted by seeing it. So. Yeah. All right. Good. You want to take us to Chip, John?
Yeah. Okay. Poor Chip. All right. Chip says, my wife's mid-2017 iMac has had some SSD problems, according to Carbon Copy Cloner backups. Originally, CCC indicated numerous files in the Big Sur data volume which were corrupted. Examining those files indicated that they were, in fact, corrupted. Most were images and a few were PDFs, and they had different pictures combined in one and sections of PDFs missing in others. They were not into critical files and they were deleted. However, now it's finding errors in the system volume and refuses to back it up. Well, this makes sense and is a valuable feature of CCC, but is there any way to install a system volume of Big Sur onto a different region of the SSD? There's plenty of room available, but I have no idea how to force Big Sur onto a different area. I don't even know if the SSD can be replaced on a mid-2017 iMac. And yes, you will doubtless, I will get her a new iMac as soon as the Apple Silicon comes out.
Which might be this week. So that's exciting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's an event on Tuesday?
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do a little recap after the event. Yeah.
Okay, my recommendation would be to not try to trick. Your SSD is failing, in my humble opinion. Though it's a 2017, I mean, that seems to be... I wouldn't expect an SSD to fail, but it sounds like that's what's happening. And you're absolutely right. So Carbon Copy Cloner, they have a feature. It's called, there's a checkbox here, and I'm looking right at it now. Find and replace corrupted files. Is I think what he enabled here. And it'll basically do a comparison and make sure that your backup is good. And in his case, it's not. Or something's getting corrupted. So basically what I'd say, Dave, is I'd retire the SSD in this iMac and either replace it or at the very least boot off your clone. Yeah. Maybe make a clone of your clone. You can, but the thing is, yes, Dave, so you can replace the SSD on this model. And iFixit has a guide on how to do this, and I sent him a link to it. So
okay.
It's rated moderate difficulty. This is one of the machines where you have to actually slice it open. It's not magnetic. It's another one where you need a blade to... we have. You need a blade in order to basically cut the adhesive that holds the screen on in order to get at it. So, So, be careful with knives and sharp things.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
But then also I linked to, so OWC has a hard drive upgrade kit, including tools for all 27-inch iMacs 2012 and later. So I sent him a link to that as well. So that's what I do.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It seems atypical that a 2017 iMac would have, or a 2017 SSD would be failing already, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. It's just atypical. I would probably want to confirm that the drive is indeed failing, but I wouldn't necessarily want to be relying on it while I did that. But my plan would be to format the drive and then use it for something else and see if just reformatting it fixes the problem. And with that in mind, I would go with a Thunderbolt external to be my boot drive for this machine. That way you don't have to crack the thing open yet. You can test whether the internal drive is truly dead yet, because it will be eventually. And you don't have to go through the hassle of cracking it open and all of that stuff. And a Thunderbolt drive externally, or even now I'd have to look at the specs on this. So I'll pull open Mac Tracker to see what speed USB that 2017 21.5-inch Retina iMac has. So let's take a look. So we are in Mac Tracker. We are in 2017. Let's see. It has, for connections, it's got Thunderbolt 3, which is good, which also means it has USB. It has 5 gigabit USB. So you could go with USB. You're probably better off going with a Thunderbolt 3 drive just to get the full speed out of it. But you're probably going to be okay with even just a 5 gig USB drive on it. But or if you've got a Thunderbolt dock that gives you 10 gig USB, even better, right? Because that's totally possible on that machine. So I would go external and then start beating on the internal one. Maybe use that as like a temporary clone just to see if it's dying or not. I don't know. I hate to give up on a drive. It could just be a software like file system corruption issue on this drive. Possible. And so that's where I'm going with this. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, go with an external and see how long you can run with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, this is funny. The article I looked at, so this has both a SATA interface and it does have an NVMe. Okay.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah. All right. Cool. Thank you. Good. All right. Moving on to Mike here. Mike says, as a follow-up to episode 863, where you talked about World Backup Day, first off, Dave, thank you for sharing the bit about how you backup photos out of the photos library, but copying just the originals folder and using a shortcut alias to do so. I'd never thought of it. Quite a great suggestion. Yeah, I'm glad I bullheadedly persistented myself into that. I know those aren't the right ways to use those words, but you get what I'm saying. Mike says, my follow-up has more to do with what else you do regarding backups. Dave, you gave us all an overview of your process, but I'm wondering how you have your wife and kids set up for backup. Many of us are in that scenario, but also more importantly, how you, if at all, integrate all the different processes, meaning you described what you do generally for your stuff, but what's the backup setup for your wife? And is there any overlap? As in, you back up your documents and photos, but you also have hers backup? And if so, is that all in one central place? How is that done and how's that backed up? Yeah, absolutely. And then he's got a question for you, John, too. Saying, you mentioned you still have a Drobo in your mix. I'm still on Team Drobo, Mike says, not yet having funds to move to Synology. How, if at all, do you back up your Drobo? You want to take the first answer, John, or you want me to answer about my family?
Oh, yeah. What do I do with the Drobo? I actually don't really have a automated workflow to do this, and I probably should. But what I do is I mount the DSM, the software on the Synology, lets you map a CIFS folder. CSF is the protocol that I think SMB is also another name for it. So, so basically, what I do is I mount the Drobo from DSM, and then I have a big old folder, and I just drag that over to the data port, to the Synology.
Yeah.
But I think I could probably automate that with Hyper Backup. I just have to just have the drive, permanently mounted and just run a backup task. I think that should do it.
Yeah, I do that with one of mine. I exactly the same thing. And you can have CSF's thing auto mount right in. I think there's a checkbox or something. So yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. I like it. As for me, this is a great question. You're right. We totally skipped over this. For my wife, I have her machine cloned to a local, direct attached drive with Carbon Copy Cloner every evening. And then I also have Time Machine running kind of to do the rest. I do have her photos back up the same way mine do to the Synology using that originals folder trick. And I say that, and I'm pretty sure I restored that when I put her on that Mac Mini a year ago, but I should check that. I have a calendar notification once a month to confirm that my backups are backing up. And I don't check all my machines every month, but I check, at least one, and I try to sort of rotate it. And I've checked my wife's to make sure that her clone is working and that her Time Machine's working and all that. But I have not checked her photos in a while. Now, Time Machine would get her photos. I make sure I have it doing that. But, and of course, they're also synced to iCloud Photos for, redundant backups. And she uses iCloud Drive for her documents, so hers are also synced redundantly that way. For my kids, it's basically the same, just without the clones. Everything, they're both laptop only users, and right now, out of the house more than they're in the house, though that my son is back now. But everything they do is synced with the cloud. They're either using iCloud for their documents or one of the various clouds that their schools use. One of them uses Microsoft's OneDrive, and like they've got various other things that are sort of taking care of the syncing thing. And I know it's fun to say sync is not backup, but it really, it kind of is, especially with, iterations and things like that. So versioning and all that. So that's enough protection for their workflows. My son does bring an SSD back and forth with him to school because he's so far away, and lets Carbon Copy Cloner do that. So I guess he does have a clone going. It's not something that's happening on a daily basis because he doesn't plug it in daily, but he does have a clone from which he could boot into something that resembles a recent version of his environment from either another Mac or even his Mac. So he does have that backup out there with him. My daughter she goes to school 5 minutes from our house. So that's a little different. We don't need the emergency scenario quite the same way he does out there. So yeah. Good question though. I'm glad you asked that, Mike. Good stuff. All right. You want to take us to Scott, John?
Yes. All right. Scott says, recently I purchased a Magic Keyboard for my iPad Pro and found that I could do most of my on-the-go computing with the iPad. However, I ran into a situation where I needed a text editor. I'm looking for a BBEdit Lite type of editor. Specifically, I need BBEdit's find and replace capabilities, including advanced regular expressions. Is there an app for the iPad that will do that? Maybe. Do you think we could convince Barebones Software to create a BBEdit for the iPad? So, two answers for you. So one, I broke out the Google Foo to find text editors for iOS. And guess what, Dave? Our pal Brett Terpstra, maker of the Marked II, a Markdown previewer, and other nifty software, has an article that's a big old summary of text editors for iOS. So, wow. And if you search for regex, it'll stumble across a couple that support regular expressions. Another thing which I found, go into the search in the App Store and type regular expression, and you'll probably come up. I came up with at least one match for a text editor that claims to support it. I forget the name of it. It's probably in that big old list. But you could do that. But then, Dave, here's another thought that he actually got me thinking of, saying, well, how about BBEdit for iPad? Well, you can kind of get BBEdit for iPad. How, you may be asking yourself, Dave? Parallels make something called Parallels Access.
Right.
And it lets you run apps that are on your Mac. So there's a piece of, so there's like one, you could also, you could set up a screen share and file transfer between your iPad and your Mac running BBEdit, right? Okay.
Right.
This is essentially what Parallels Access does for you as well. It's deployed, I'd say, in a nicer fashion than you having to hack something together yourself. So, check Parallels Access lets you run Mac apps on your iOS device.
I like it. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking here. Codex, I think, would be the text editor that I've messed with before on iOS that uses regex. I've also used, and that's Codex with a K, K-O-D-E-X. I've also used Coda for iOS, which is great. Brett's list doesn't say that it uses regex, but I know that it has in document, like a good search and like search and replace functionality. So, and what's cool is you can sort Brett's list by, like you can click on a feature and it resorts it. His list is not surprisingly, his list is very HTML-ified. So yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty cool. Cool. I like it. And I like Parallels Access. That's a good idea. Yeah. Cool. Nice find. You want to take us to Gary? Another Gary?
Yeah. What is the recommended path to eliminating duplicates in contacts? There is a find duplicates in the card menu, but it doesn't offer a delete duplicates choice, which is what I need. Suggestions are greatly appreciated. I had this issue in the past as well, Dave, when one day I just, let's see. Yeah, I had duplicates from days past. At some point, you could link in your LinkedIn and your Facebook contacts, and so my database was a mess.
Sure. Yeah.
So at one point, what I just did is I selected all my contacts and did a card look for duplicates, and then it tells you how many it found and offers to merge them, which I was okay with. Though I had to run it like 2 or 3 times before it didn't find any anymore. So, other than painstakingly going through each individual contact, this was the best solution I could find.
Yeah. So, right. To kind of answer Gary's question, is that Apple's solution to this is not to delete contacts. It's to merge them when you have duplicates. And like you, John, that's always been my sort of preferred path through this whenever I've done it, because it's not uncommon for me to have 2 different pieces of data. I'll have maybe an address in one and a phone number in the other. Then so merging it together is actually what I want. In terms of deleting duplicates, there are things in the App Store that I haven't tried. There is cleanup duplicate contacts, which comes to mind. It's got recent reviews. It's been updated recently. It even has an app privacy, entry in its App Store preview. So I'll put that out there. But again, I haven't used it, but it is one that I know people have recommended to us in time. And like I said, it was just updated a month ago. So it is kept up to date. So we'll, like I said, we'll put it out there. That might get you there. So yeah. And that is a Mac app, no, designed for iPad. Sorry, that is an iPad app. It says view in Mac App Store. Why is it want to show me that? Is it also? No, not compatible with this device. Okay. I need an M1 Mac to do that. So there you go. All right. But you can do it on your iPhone or iPad, I guess. Yeah. Cool. Any other thoughts on that, John?
Nope.
Okay. Speaking of M1, I recently got, well, it arrived while I was gone. More on that later. I got that M1 Mac Mini that I traded that domain for, that I told you about. And it arrived and all is good. So, that part of it went really well. I replaced the iMac in the office with this. And I decided, mainly in the interest of time, because, I'd just gotten back from a trip. I wanted to get this thing set up and make sure it worked. So I leveraged my my time zone shift. We got back about 10 p.m. on Thursday night, actually about 11 p.m., I guess. And so I stayed up till about 3. I prepped the show, answered all the questions, and then migrated started the migration process to this new Mac Mini. And because I knew it was going to take hours for it to slurp all the data across from my clone drive. So I got that set up and then I went to sleep. I am not convinced. In fact, I am convinced that my advice to all of you would be, if you are migrating from an Intel Mac to an M1 Mac, that you not use Migration Assistant and that you set it, more specifically, that you set it up from scratch. And the reason is I have spent the last 2 days going through and finding all of the things that are on there that are still Intel that should be and could be running on Apple Silicon. And there are things like the app Zoom, for example. For whatever reason, it's not universal. Or when I had it installed and updated on my Intel Mac, it was just updating the Intel version. It never downloaded a universal version. As soon as I launched Zoom, however, it said, you're running on an Apple Silicon Mac. You should update. So I did that. I let it do it. What it did not do was update the core audio driver for sharing Zoom audio. So that was still running in emulated mode, not in native mode. And so I deleted it, but I had to go through and, find the needle in the haystack in the system to delete that, pull it out. There was another audio driver for Black Hole that was still running the old one. I pulled that out and put the new one in. And I've been going through enough of this process that I know I'm still missing things. And I'm not sure I've saved any time. And given that I know that I'm still missing things, I know that at some point I'm going to wipe this thing and start it from scratch and migrate stuff back in manually anyway. So I highly recommend that if you're going to an M1 Mac, that you just do it manually. And that way you're at least starting as close to native as you can get. Activity Monitor has been my friend because an Activity Monitor, once you're on M1, and of course, Activity Monitor was giving me all sorts of problems. I had to go and blow away my preferences file for Activity Monitor to get it to work the right way in M1. Again, another data point that says I would advise you to just do it from scratch. But you can add a kind column or architecture column to Activity Monitor. And then I sort by Intel or sort by architecture, and it floats Intel to the top. And then I can see what's running on my Mac that is Intel. And I've gone through, and that's helped me identify these things. And you can do that too. It's not going to be perfect. Even on a Mac that I've set up from scratch, there are still some Intel only apps that are running in Rosetta, and that's okay. But I would prefer them to not be if there is an alternative. And so I've been using that. There are other apps out there that you could do this with too, of course, but I find Activity Monitor at least just tells me what's running and what's going on. There's also been it took a long time for Spotlight to rebuild its index and get that right. So again, yeah, I would do it. My advice is don't do what I did. Do what I will eventually do, and that is start from scratch with it. But it is fast, and it's amazing how cool this thing runs, especially compared to my wife has one of those i7 Mac Minis, which I think is what you have, right, John? And that thing gets hot, like fry an egg hot sometimes. So, yeah. Anyway, that's my thought on that. Any questions on that? Any thoughts on that, John?
Nope.
All right.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, i7. Yeah, I got the i7. It's 190 degrees. I don't think.
If you put your hand on top, is it warm to the touch?
Yeah, a little bit, but
okay.
The heat has to go somewhere.
Yeah. Well, like on this one downstairs, I've got one of those OWC Thunderbolt docks, the one with all the extra Thunderbolt ports, because of course you can do that with Big Sur. And I have that literally sitting on top of it. And I've tested it a few times after I've seen the CPU, like when it's doing its spotlight cleaning for hours and it's just like, pegged. And I lift up the dock and I put my hand underneath it. And it's just cold. It's awesome, which is great. Yeah, that's good. A tip about AppleCare on this new M1 Mini, because it was not purchased by me. It was purchased by someone else and I traded them for it. They did not put AppleCare on it, so I went to put AppleCare on it. Now, it arrived a week and a half ago, right after I left. I figured I'd wait till I got home to make sure it worked and all that. But I kept thinking, no, I should have my daughter like send me the serial number so that I can put AppleCare on it right now. I did not do that. And by the time I got home, I was literally days past the 60 days required. This was purchased in early or mid-February. And so I was 2 days past the 60-day window that you have to add AppleCare Plus to a Mac Mini. That is unlike it used to be in the past when it was just AppleCare, when you could add it at any time during the first 1-year warranty. So I had to call Apple. And they put me on the phone with the AppleCare activation team who helped me and got me there. And they're like, oh, yeah, we understand. I just told them, I'm like, it was stupid me. I should have done this. I didn't. Please help. And I was very polite to them, of course, very deferential, which I find very helpful in customer service situations. And of course, they helped me out and registered it. The interesting thing now, because they had to do a little dance to allow this to happen, is that my AppleCare now is good through April of 2024, not February of 2024. So they treated it like this past week was my purchase date, not February. And I'm not sure if that's how it always is supposed to work, but it certainly is how it worked. So 60 days is what you've got to add AppleCare Plus. And then if you wind up being outside of that, sometimes it might actually help you out. So there you go. Yeah. Warren in the chat room says they changed it to a year recently. Interesting. Well, it would have to have been since February, but that's of course possible. It's been 60 days. So 64 days or something like that. But yeah, there you go. All right. We've got time here, right? Oh yeah, we can go to Ari here. Ari asked a question I'm not sure I have the answer for, John, but we'll see if we can get there. He says, I'm wondering if you could help walk me through a couple of troubleshooting steps I could try to figure out a lag I'm getting in my two favorite browsers, Edge and Brave. My computer is a 16-inch MacBook Pro 2019 running the latest Big Sur, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage. I'm hardwired in to my router, an Eero Pro 6 in my office, which is hardwired through Cat 6 back to my, actually it's hardwired into the Eero satellite, we'll call it, but that's also hardwired back to the gateway. But he says the issue replicates even when I'm sitting in the house right next to the gateway. He says I get gigabit service and all my things are good latency, good stuff. Speeds are fine. Nonetheless, I am intermittently getting a significant lag of 10 to 20 seconds attempting to resolve websites when browsing in both Brave and Edge. It's bad enough that when it happens, I will get multiple prompts from the browser to wait or kill the page. Choosing wait several times seems to give the browser enough time to load the page. Once the site gets past the initial load, everything is very fast with no issues, but it's that initial lag time that kills me. This makes me feel like it's a DNS issue. I would agree, actually. He says, but the issue replicates regardless of whether I use my preferred DNS 8888 or 1.1.1.1 or the default DNS from Comcast. These issues do not seem to replicate in Safari, but the issues are intermittent, and I haven't used Safari significantly recently, and I would prefer not to be forced into it. My guess is you might have these issues in Safari too, but it's possible that it is separate. There are DNS like I said, is what comes to mind for me too. I know Firefox will use its own DNS sometimes, but I don't think any of the Chromium browsers, at least not Edge, Brave, Chrome, do that. Opera now has its own VPN built into it if you want to use that, but that's sort of a different thing. I'm pretty sure these Chromium browsers all use system DNS. And I looked in Edge's settings, and it does, it sort of points you to system preferences, network, whatever your interface, so Ethernet in your case, and then proxies for any proxy stuff. So it's not doing its own proxy detection or anything that would also cause this, right? We've seen this in the past where proxy detection can cause a lag then too. And do that, right? Go to system preferences, network, interface, either Ethernet or Wi-Fi, proxies, and make sure nothing is checked there. When he's trying various DNS servers, my question for you, Ari, would be, are you setting these on your Eero or are you setting them on your Mac? Because if you're setting them on your Eero, then it's still your Mac waiting for the Eero to be its DNS server. And wherever the Eero is sourcing its data from is potentially irrelevant. So I would try manually setting the DNS on your Mac. So system preferences, network, interface, advanced DNS, and then just manually enter a DNS there. The ones that you get automatically from your router will be like there in gray, and you can type in new ones and, hit enter, and then those will override whatever it is getting from your router. So I would definitely try that and let your Mac do DNS directly. You can pull it out of there when you're finished testing, but that would at least highlight whether the problem is with your Mac getting DNS in general, or if it's just having a problem with the Eero, or it could be something else entirely. A way to test this would be to use a tool called NSLookup. You could use Dig too, but I like NSLookup. And I've got a video, I'm going to post this video in our forums somewhere, or maybe I'll have Sadie actually push it out to our socials as a sort of a video of, not sort of a video, a real video. So, to show you all, but NSLookup is a great tool that will that lets you query DNS on your Mac. It's an older tool. I know Dig is the newer one, but I like to use NSLookup, and we will push this video out. But it'll show you how to use NSLookup and see what answers you're getting back, and also see how quickly you are getting back those answers. And that might be an indicator here. You can do the same lookup that you're doing in your browser in the terminal and really get those answers and see what your DNS server. And you can also point to different DNS servers with NSLookup very, very easily. I know it's kind of old school, but it works for me. So we'll share that video, and maybe that'll help. And I created that video. That's the one I talked about in the beginning of the show that I created using Command-Shift-5. So there you go. Any thoughts, John?
Another thing you could try, Thing Desktop has a DNS benchmark feature they added recently. I think you may have to get premium to run that, but
okay.
That's another tool that you may want to try, because it checks all sorts of different DNSs. I actually learned about one that I had forgotten about when I ran it the other day. So you may want to try that too.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds DNS-y to me.
It does. Paul Franz in the chat room points out that Chrome recently added DNS over HTTPS, or DOH as it's called, in Chrome. And so that probably spills over to these other browsers too. And this is a way of securely doing DNS lookups, and it will bypass your Mac's DNS. In order to I'm looking to see where in Chrome we do this, and I don't have an article for the Mac as to how to do this on Mac OS. So here is a thing. You have to do it. Really, you have to do it with a terminal command. It looks like maybe. Yeah. So I'll put a link to this. I did not see it in Chrome settings, but it's possible you might have enabled this at one point, Ari, as well. So we'll put a link to this out there too. So enable, disable DNS over HTTPS in Chrome. All right. So we'll put a link to that in the show notes there. And you already know what it's called because you heard me type it out. And you should be able to find that link in the show notes at MacGeekGab.com. And of course, if you want the show notes delivered to your email box every week, go to MacGeekGab.com and sign up for our newsletter, and then you will get the show notes delivered every week. So there you go. Firefox does support it, and they have a checkbox for it, which makes it way easier than what Chrome is doing. So yeah, good. Any more thoughts on that, John?
No.
Okay. Is Sean something we can do in a minute or two here, or is that something we should save?
Yes.
Okay, go.
I think so.
Great.
Sean says, I have a 2019 iMac currently running macOS Mojave 10.14.16. I've tried 3 times to update the Big Sur. Each time during the install, when the machine reboots, the Apple logo flashes for a second, and then the iMac shuts off. I have tried PRAM and SMC resets with no, and that didn't help. It will not boot into safe mode. I am forced to do a system restore each time back to Mojave. My Google Foo has not helped find a solution. I hope you guys have one. I haven't run into this in a while, Dave, but I think sometimes when upgrading, APFS gets confused when it's, creating new partitions or converting old ones and stuff like that. So I've seen this. So here would be my suggestion would be to make a clone.
Okay.
I make a clone and reformat that drive that you're reformat that drive, I think is the way to solve this. And then, once you reformat it, either, install Big Sur on the reformatted drive, get the Big Sur installer, and then use Migration Assistant or restore the bootable Mojave clone to the freshly formatted drive and then run it from there.
Yeah.
So take your pick. But I think there's something screwed up, especially since you can't get into safe mode either. I think there's something wacky with your partition table or volumes.
Yeah. Interesting. Huh.
That's what I got.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, definitely starting booting from something else. I wonder, can he boot into recovery mode? I'm guessing he can. I'm guessing that's how he's doing this. But I mean, it says I've tried 3 times to update to Big Sur. So maybe it's just the over the top update. So interesting. A system restore back to Mojave. So yeah, I guess he's using recovery mode to do that. Yeah, that seems odd. I mean, that machine definitely should. I'm running a 2019 iMac with Big Sur right in front of me. So I mean, it should run Big Sur. There's no reason from Apple that it wouldn't. But yeah, man. Yeah, that's your advice is sound. That's where I'd go with it. So yeah. All right. Well, that is, I believe, where we must end things for today, Mr. Braun. But we will be back. We're doing 2 shows this week because Apple is doing an event this week. So it's, it's time. We'll do a little reaction, not a recap, but a reaction episode after the event on Tuesday. And of course, we'll push that out to all the feeds. It'll be a normal episode. But if you want to, you can join us live at live.macgeekgab.com. Come to the feeds and, there you go. So we will, come to live.macgeekgab.com early if you want. Mute the sound because you'll be wanting to watch the Apple event, not listen to an old Mac Geek Gab episode. But you know, the chat room is always there. So if you want to come hang out in the chat room, I'll make sure to open the chat room on my computer too. I'll be busy covering the event. I'm usually put on screenshot duty because I have a good workflow for that. I'm not sure how much participation I will make, but John and I can both be, you know, at least in the chat room and checking in. If you folks want to be there, we'll push the thing out to you know, our various socials. So yeah, very good. Very good. Very good. Thanks to all of you, in fact, for doing what you do. Thanks to everybody who has contributed to our premium program at macgeekgab.com/premium. That is, of course, it is not mandatory, but it is a place, or it is a program that was created for those of you who want to and can support us directly. And you can learn more about it at macgeekgab.com/premium. We will thank all of you. My spreadsheet for that is failing to come up for me. Safari is complaining to me about it. So we will thank those of you who have contributed recently, specifically in the next episode here. But thank you to all of you who do contribute. Thanks really, though, to everyone for listening. That is the best thing you can do. The second best thing is contributing your questions and your tips and your cool stuff out, and you're all doing that, which is awesome. Thank you, thank you. The third best thing you can do is to share the show. Tell other people about it, either just by sharing the episode or sharing any, you know, one of the variety of things on any of the various social channels that we're on, all the little tips and tidbits that we're pushing out. Share those. You know, just spreading the love of the Mac Geek Gab family here is super helpful for all of us in terms of just pushing things forward. So any place specifically you want to direct them, Mr. Braun?
MacGeekGab.com.
There you go. MacGeekGab.com.
That's where it's happening.
That's where it's happening. Yeah. Awesome. You can send it. We told you how to send in your stuff. If you're a premium listener, you can send it to premium@macgeekgab.com. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Of course, the ones in this episode were startmail.com/MGG. Half price, like $29.99 or something like that. It's great. Sunbasket.com/MGG with code MGG at checkout. And speaking of checkout, checkout.com/MGG for your business payment solutions. Our thanks to CashFly for providing all the bandwidth to get the show from us to you. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks for all of that. Happy Bicycle Day today. And don't do anything we wouldn't do. Don't get caught. See you next week. Actually, see you tomorrow. And we're out, I think. Yes, we're out. Good. Let's see. MGG 866 local. All righty. Okay. Yep. Oh, not bad. Not bad.
Yep.
Here, 239. Okay. All right. Thanks for hanging out in the chat room, everybody. Has anyone? Oh no, I haven't, Kai Engineer, and it is. We need to mention it in the show because it's important to note that is not emulation. It is still just virtualization. So it's only for M1 or for ARM-based versions of Windows. It is not yet for emulated Intel versions of Windows. So. Be there or be octagonal. Yes. Non-Euclidean. Excellent, Dr. Dream and Chiron. I love the chatter. All right, folks. I have lots to do to process this show, including fixing that little glitch when I pumped in the ads. So, all right. Thanks for hanging out with us. I am going to say goodbye. See you after the Apple event, Michael. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Apple needs to add a fingerprint to the next keyboard. The problem with that is there is not a secure USB interface by which that could like tie into the T2 chip. That's sort of the issue there. So I'm curious to see if and how they solve that. But All right. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody on Facebook. Thanks for hanging out. And I'm going to say goodbye to everybody on the live stream via YouTube, however you might get there. And